fact that many men suffer in silence and shame over their past faults or failure is not a lie that's been sold to us. It's actually the true representation of things, how they stand with men and men in their middle ages now. In my last video, I spoke about how at some point I literally lost everything. What I didn't mention in that video was how long it took me to truthfully speak, articulate, and tell people, friends and loved ones, about the true nature and size of those losses. Building back now, when I look at that timeline, I see it as nothing less than a spirit of shame that literally pits tents, takes hold of, and position, or builds a stronghold in the heart of a strong man, which is what's happening today with many men of our ages. And yes, I do consider myself to be a strong man. See, shame doesn't only make you feel ashamed of the fact that you failed, it makes you keep quiet about the fact that you failed, or you're going through a failure, or you're going through a situation that you're ashamed of. And in essence, what that does, it cuts off every form of blood supply that you need as a source of help to the situation you're going through to revamp you and get you back into better position. I used to pretend that everything was okay, same vibe, same friends, same events, same parties, same smiles, same conversations, and all of that. But truthfully, down behind the scenes, or right behind the scenes, I knew everything was falling apart. Shame makes you feel if people knew the true extent of your loss, your failure, your faults, your mistake, or the situation that you're going through, that they will laugh at you, they will mock you, they make jest of you, they have conversations behind your back. They're all well and good because you can't mute that anyway. That would always happen. But what that does is it creates a bubble around you. You build a prison wall around yourself, and you reduce yourself, put yourself in a position from gaining access to people, access to tools and resources, sources of help that's available, and also refusing people to gain access to you, because those an open mouth, a closed mouth doesn't get fed, so they say. So you need to find yourself in a position where, when you're going through situations like this, you speak out, you tell your truth, because if you don't mention it, just like I mentioned it to my friend at some point, and they said, "Tony, lend yourself a break. Like, we believe in you. Why don't you believe in yourself?" Words he said 20 years ago that still resonates right now, and is still true and living words in my life up till now. So here's my, what can I call it, 2 cents, and I know it might ruffle a little bit of feathers. Men are praised oftentimes for being able to deal with situations like this in violence and silence. Biggie says bad boys live in violence and silence. Some of you might not know. But men are praised having to deal with things silently behind the scenes, just grafting on and everything. But sometimes that silence doesn't mean that you're a strong man. It's literally shame that puts on a strong face through you, or fear that's putting on a strong face through. And I like to refer to the scriptures, and when you look back into the book of James, I think it is 5:16, it says, "Men, confess your faults one to another," and I just put men in front of it, but it just says, "Men, confess your faults one to another, because in it you will find healing." Now, it's not telling us to keep our faults, which are our mistakes, our missteps, where we've gone wrong, whether socially, financially, in a relationship, or whichever way we've gone wrong. He said, confess it one to another, because in it you will find healing, which literally goes alongside that verse. I'm not sure what verse of the scripture that says there's wisdom in the multitude of counselors. There's always help out there. And what shame does is it restricts you from getting that help, because it's refusing you to speak about what the situation is. And anyone who's not telling you what their situation is, how's that person supposed to get any kind of help from you? Marcus Aurelius, another philosopher that I love, he says it a different way. He says the best revenge is never to be like the person who's caused the injury. The best revenge is never to be like the person who's caused the injury. Now, if I have to sort of put that in the context of what I'm trying to sort of speak about, I'll say the best revenge of silence is the best revenge of shame is never to be silent. Yeah, sorry. Best revenge of shame is never to be silent about it. Speak your truth, even if it's to one person. Find someone who you could speak your truth to, because the minute you speak your truth, then shame begins to lose its grip from you. You've spoken, you've uttered those words. Speak your truth. Don't let shame hold you captive. Don't let him think, have these conversations in your head that you could do it all by yourself, when it can be easier to stand on the shoulder of giants, so to say, or stand on the shoulder of those who could support you to lift you out of this miry clay that you're in. So if there's a situation that you're going through financially, physically, in a relationship, career-wise, spiritually, whatever it is, and you're ashamed about it, don't deal with it by yourself. Speak your truth. And I'm not saying come on social media and put it out there like I'm doing. Either way, I'm still speaking my truth. Something that happened years ago, and now I'm still able to articulate it, because I don't want to find myself going through the same thing again. And I would love to use my experiences in life to help someone else, even if it's one person. So speak your truth. Don't bottle it up. Don't build a bubble around yourself. There's so much resources and help out there. There's so many people who love you and want to do right by you. So just speak your truth to them. You'll be surprised how that will lift you up from where or what situation you think you're in. Yep. So I'll leave it like that until I speak to you on the next one.